Peace and blessings, family. This is your brother Rasarim Hotep, and I am back with part 2 of our video series, replying to the commentary that African Americans have no culture. I did an introductory video, which is, if you're watching on TikTok, it is pinned in my videos to the top. And in that discourse, I introduced to the lay public one of our premier psychologists and scholars, Dr. Wade Nobles, who, along with other psychologists like Boyd and White and others, Akbar, have kind of synthesized and penetrated and looked through the history and the psychology of the people. And it is Dr. Nobles who has consolidated this information and described African American culture as having essentially 8 cultural precepts and 9 reoccurring themes. So as I promised in the first video, in the subsequent videos, I'm going to go into more details of what those 8 precepts and 9 reoccurring themes are in terms of the details as given to us by Dr. Wade Nobles. And so in this video, we're going to deal with the precept of consubstantiation, and we're going to deal with the reoccurring theme of spirituality. And if we have time, I may add some more. So, and again, if you want to know the full 8 precepts and 9 cultural themes, go into my video section and look at the first video, which is pinned. And so when we talk about I can't speak for a moment, consubstantiation, it asserts that all things in the universe have the same essence. This precept refers to the notion that pervades the African ethos that all elements in the universe are of one substance, therefore spirit, and that all matter, whether animate or inanimate, are merely different manifestations of the God force spirit. The people's approach to life is vitalistic rather than mechanistic. And this is one of those carry-ons from our traditional African ancestors, because in Africa, it is my argument that they are really the only monotheist in the world, because for African people, God is the only thing that exists. And this is why you'll see us in America when we talk about, we are simply God or spirit having a human experience. It is based on this underlying philosophy of consubstantiation. It is also why we don't have a hierarchy in terms of value, in terms of individual people, because we're all made of the same substance. We're all, quote unquote, God's children. And so nobody is higher than the other, which is why we resist so hard to the racism and oppression that you see here in America. And so it's this consubstantiation precept that really kind of informs the first reoccurring theme, and that is spirituality. Well, if everything is of the same substance, which is in terms of the spirit of God or whatnot, then this informs our spirituality. And so spirituality is the first reoccurring theme. And so we don't have to really go into the details of the spiritualness of African people in general and African Americans in particular. But to go to the details, Dr. Nobles informs us that spirituality pervades the traditional African and African American ethos. It is based on the belief that all elements of the universe are of one substance, spirit, and all matter, animate or inanimate, are merely different manifestations of the God force spirit. With spirituality as a central cultural principle, a people's approach to life is vitalistic rather than mechanistic. And so we're always looking for the divine origins in balance and harmony of things. And so a lot of our resistance to, colonialisms and all that came with it was based off of our sense of spirit and consubstantiation. And so with that, I think I'm going to go to the second precept, which is interdependence. And you'll see that all of these precepts and reoccurring themes are connected and weave into each other. So that's why it's more so a matrix that defines African American culture. So interdependence asserts that everything in the universe is connected because, of course, everything is made of the same fundamental God force and substance, which makes everything consubstantial, right? This precept represents the African's understanding of and respect for his ontological origins in cosmological relationships. Given that everything in the universe is of one substance and therefore connected, everything in the universe is inextricably interdependent. This can be demonstrated in Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s famous quote, and this is what I added: "An injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." Clearly, Dr. King had an understanding of this principle, and it was and is reflected in the African American struggle for equality. So if you have inequality over here on the other side of the United States, it's not going to be long before it permeates here on the eastern side, or the other side of the United States, or anywhere around the world. And so we have to nip things in the bud everywhere because everybody shares the same world, the same earth. And so you can't have smog over here without it going to affect people over here. So we're always looking for this concept. In Kikongo we call Kaninga, and it's cognate in the ancient Egyptian is called Ma'at. And that's a different discussion, and I can go into the details of that in a future show. But we're always looking for the balance because of the interconnectivity of all things. And lastly, the second reoccurring theme is resilience. And Dr. Nobles defines it as, or articulates it as, the conscious need to bounce back from disappointment and disaster, and to have the tools of humor and joy to renew life's energy. The idea of transformation, the process of becoming better, is informed by two distinct yet interrelated ideas: verve and resilience. Verve is desire for creative extemporaneousness, a sense of utter antipathy for the mundane and the monotonous, the ability to focus on and handle several issues at once. Resilience represents the capability to positively bounce back from adversity, and in learning from that adversity, move to higher levels of beingness, therefore transformation. This results in endurance, which is another attribute of good character. And so, our resilience, and just the resilience of African people in general does not really need a deep explanation. But it is this resilience because we believe that we are made of spirit and that we can conquer all things. And this may come off as audacious to a lot of people around the world who don't understand our history. And so because our culture, because African Americans were birthed or forged in the fire, it has developed a certain type of resilience that when we see obstacles, we just laugh and we figure out a way to overcome and tower over life's 1001 challenges. And so just to recap, for the first video or subsequent video from the introduction, the precept is consubstantiation. The first precept is consubstantiation. The second precept is interdependence. The first reoccurring theme is spirituality. And the second reoccurring theme is resilience. And so, hopefully you can, rewind this and look deeper and know and be able to present some other examples that you can recall just from your own experiences that contribute and solidify these particular reoccurring themes and precepts which define African American culture. So I look forward to your commentary And please like and share the video. Hotep, peace.